guys, Ultimate Toy Collector here. Today we're going to take a look at Mezco's exclusive 112 Collective Knightmare Batman from Batman vs. Superman. Now, funny thing is, this figure, when it was first announced, had a little bit of buzz around it, but not a lot. And initially, it was a canceled figure. Then, a little while later, people were kind of petitioning and, asking Mezco to still make it. So they decided to make it. And they made it an exclusive to be sold by them on their site. And fast forward to its release date. Now, it's sold out. And it's going for at least double of what, if not more, than what the original pre-order was, which is $80. So irony right there, I think so. And that's happening so much with these figures where people are like, no, I don't want them, and then they come out and everybody's like, oh, these are so great, and then people are jumping on it and paying, $200, $300, $400 for these figures. That's a little bit much for me, for my palate, but if you want to spend it, to each his own. So, anyway, here's the Mezco exclusive. It's the smaller style box, almost like what we saw with the Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and the X-Men Deadpool. It's not the larger scale. All right, so we have a little illustration of Knightmare Batman on the back. And we got a bunch of goodies inside. So let me open this up and take a look. All right, so here we have our Knightmare Batman out of the package. And for scale, you see we have him standing in the Mezco diorama from, I think this was the Frankenstein doorway. And he's about six inches or so. Now, let's take a look at his accessories. So he comes with a nice little stand there. All right. Woo, my reflection. Good thing I'm not naked. I don't know. That's, you see people posting stuff on eBay and all types of places where their reflection's naked in the mirror. It's all right. I'm not. Chill out. So, got a nice little Batman versus Superman insignia there. Pretty cool. It looks more cartoonish to me, but that's the stand, and it does have a little flight base with it. All right, now he comes with 3 heads altogether. He has 2 alternates here, an unmasked version, a more closed mouth version, and a yelling or screaming version there. Put these back there. Now, altogether, he comes with 5 hands. So, basically, 2 sets and 1 extra hand. Comes with the closed fist, which is on him, and then 3 open hands. This looks like it'll hold the gun. And these are more, I guess one's a gripping hand. And one might be able to hold the other gun. We'll take a look at those later. So I'll put those over there. Comes with some cool little goggles. Probably throw those on his head. Let's see. Not to go over his eyes, but go on his head. And he comes with 2 weapons. First is a pistol. Looks like it's got a little wood grain handle piece on it. And here's his machine gun. Now it's got a bandana tied around it, duct tape on the stock. It has a Joker card taped to it. It's a nice little detail there. And let's see. And the magazine pops out. So that's cool. You can put that in there. And it comes with a muzzle flash with a flying bullet attached to the end. So I think that's pretty cool. I like that Mezco adds these little extra pieces to their figures. Really wish we can get that with Marvel Legends, but Mezco gives it to us, so it's pretty awesome. All right, pop that out so we don't break that. Now, I want to take a look at the detail on his face. So I want to do that with each of the heads. So I'm going to take a second and look at the detail on all three of the heads. All right, so first let's take a look at the head that comes on the figure. I put the goggles on it, so we'll take that off. Now, one thing I want to point out, this is a smaller figure. This is a 1/12 scale figure, and the attention to detail is phenomenal. The heads are so small. If you look at this figure and you look inside the eye holes of the mask there, the eyes are perfectly done. And, you know, you have the white of the eyes and the black of the eyes, and then you have the black around it under the mask. Phenomenal. One thing that Mezco really does a good job at is the attention to detail. Now here, you know, we have the mouth is open, you see the teeth and the tongue. So that is a screaming head or yelling head. So let's pop the head off. We'll take a look at that later. So the heads are pretty easy to put on. And again, just look at the detail. Skin tones, great job on the skin tones. It's going to zoom out a little bit. So I love what they did. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the figure in general, the concept. I thought it was, you know, just another money grab type of concept when I saw it. I wasn't a huge fan of Batman vs. Superman, the movie. Martha! You know, it was a decent movie, but I really wasn't a huge fan. So when I saw this outfit, I was like, you know, it's just an outfit that'll be a toy gimmick. The Mattel one sucked, but this is better. I still don't think it's a practical Batman outfit, but I do like how it transitioned to a Mezco toy. Let's take this one off. And the unmasked one. So the unmasked version is almost my favorite version, I guess you could say. Now, we all know this has been Affleck. But I'm not sure if Mezco had the likeness for the character. And I only say that because this is the head sculpt is you think it's Ben Affleck, but it might not be Ben Affleck, but it kind of looks like Ben Affleck type of head sculpt. And Mezco is notorious for doing a version of a character that doesn't exactly require licensing. Arrow, and there's a few other ones that they've done where it's their concept of the character. So I'm not sure if this is the case with it. If it isn't the case and they did get the likeness, then they're a little off on the actual likeness of the character. But otherwise, it looks good. I like the skin tone. I like the definition. Like the little 5 o'clock shadow going on here. They definitely did a good job. You can't really see it right there, but up close, the 5 o'clock shadow looks good. The hair sculpted and colored perfectly. Overall, I really like the head sculpt, and that's probably one of my favorite head sculpts on the character. So, as far as mobility on the head or articulation, on all the heads you can get down. Now, if you go up, this is about as far as you can go up because of the high, I guess, neck in the back. So you have the ball joint, and then you have the neck piece. So for the armor itself, sits up a little high there. So you can only get a little turn to the side ever so much. But you can get a full look down. And not too high, because then you pop the head off. And it's the same with all the other ones. So I'm going to pop this off again. And we'll put Screaming Batman back on. Alright, so you can see the same. Articulation is the same in the neck. A little restricted, but overall not bad. Now, let's take a look at the outfit. Alright, so taking a look at his outfit with the armor and the trench coat. Start up at the top. So he's got a scarf wrapped around his neck. I'll pop the head off for a second. Now the scarf is kind of intertwined to the armor, but it's tucked under the neck piece of the cowl. So you can't pull it up over the head, but it has a small little stitching that's into the chest or the upper shoulder area, so it's attached there. Now the bat insignia on his chest, they did a great job with. All right, it's texturized. It looks like it's got a couple bullet marks in it, so it's battle torn. I think that is a phenomenal little detail there. I do like the stitching on the suit. Now, as we go down, the utility belt is another favorite little piece that I like. It goes, let me lift his arm up. So it goes around the body. As far as whether it comes apart, now right here looks like it would come apart. But, alright, let me see. Alright, so right here is a piece where it could come apart, but it's glued together. So I think if you pop that off, you might end up breaking it. Detail on the belt is phenomenal. The shading and everything is great. I love it. Real weather torn. Now the upper part of the costume is kind of sewed into the pants on here, if you look there. So it is one whole pajama piece, as some people would say. It's stitched in right there. At the waist, you won't see the dividing point because of the belt. Now he has a thigh holster, which is really cool. And you can take the gun and there you go. You just slide that right down in there, and it'll sit there right under the trench coat. That's a little piece that I really like. And that is kind of stitched. Let me see. Okay, so it's stitched around his waist here. It's got one solid stitch, and it's stitched into the pants. So you can't take that off without popping that stitch, and then likelihood of it being put back on correctly without restitching it is highly unlikely, because there's no straps here around the ankle where you could unstrap it. Now we'll take a look at the coat. So the coat, this is one thing that only Mezco could really do. Like, you know, the little small pieces of clothing, the little coats. I feel like, I can't even remember the name of the little mouse, but there was a little mouse, it was a movie, And I remember as a kid, but I feel like the clothes would fit the mouse. But anyway, so in the jacket here, there is a little wire piece. I guess you can kind of pose it for different ways. Not a lot, but it does leave a little posability there. As far as the rest of the jacket, everything's stitched pretty smooth. No rips that I can see. Coloring, it's a little worn, but not too worn. Enough to make him look like, you know, Knightmare Batman. Now, if we take a look at the articulation, his arms, get them right up to the side there. Let's see about over the head. So above the head, you're really stuck at a motion about there. Same if you put them backwards. Almost, I guess you could say almost like a real person. It's not really balling up in the joint, but it does limit some of the movement with the shoulders. And if you had an actual heavy leather coat, it probably really would limit, you know, your movement to some degree, and that's what this does. All right, now as we go down, we have the elbows. A little difficult for me to tell if it's double or single. I'm assuming most of the bodies that they use have these single joints, but so right here at the wrist, where his like gauntlets are, you have a little bit. Actually, no, you have full rotation here at the wrist, where the gauntlets are, and then you also have full articulation at the actual wrist. So forearms, I should say, and the wrist have articulation. Now, as far as the hands, you see this is a gloved, like armored knuckle type of glove, and it's a punching fist. You could pop that one off, and let's see. You could easily pop one of the other hands on, and let's see how that would look. So able to get him to hold his gun there. Obviously the pistol would be held a little better, but he is able to hold the guns. All right, so we're gonna open that. So we already talked about the chest area with the stitching, and it's given a texturized look. Now, as far as articulation, he's able to get a good jumping pose, you know, backward lean, forward a little bit, side to side. Good range of motion with the articulation. So he'll be fun to pose and play with. On the legs, get a kick forward, kick back, forward, back, and some double jointed knees in here. So definitely some good posability with that. And let's see, the boots under the knee, you can spin them around, so articulation there, and good articulation in the ankle. So overall, even though this is a armored, clothed figure, it does have good articulation, good posability, and you know, like I said, the concept for the outfit on the figure, I was not a huge fan of, but Mezco definitely, you know, turned my view on this figure, and it's a fun, real fun figure to play with, and it transitioned very well to an action figure. It has a lot of little details in it that definitely make this figure worth getting. Some of my favorite points, as I said, the bat insignia on the chest, the utility belt, the holster on his leg, and then the alternate heads. I think just absolutely phenomenal. And that is why this figure is suddenly in such high demand. I could definitely see that. And maybe initially some people were like me and we're like, this isn't really a figure that I think would be like awesome in my collection. But overall, I think it is. They definitely did a good job. And so let's see. Put that little muzzle piece in here. He's shooting. Put that back here. And take his handgun out. Like I said, with the jacket, I do wish there was a little bit more range of motion in the shoulders, but if you were looking at a real person wearing a heavy leather jacket like this, your range of motion would probably be hindered just the same. So not gonna really gig them on that. Overall, this is definitely a great figure in my opinion. And if you slept on it, I don't know about paying $400 for it, but I definitely would pick one up. So thank you for checking me out, guys. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, The Ultimate Toy Collector. Check me out on Cool Dad Pop Culture Reviews. And as always, Toy News International, TNI, big shout out to them. And like the video, share it, leave me a comment, and let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you think about this figure, and if you had a chance, pick it up. All right, until next time, guys, happy hunting.